Alrighty everyone, welcome to another stream of Total Warhammer 3 multiplayer here. Today we don't actually have any live battles. Oh shit, I forgot to turn on Warhammer 3 multiplayer here. Today we... Yep, okay, never mind. Oh, yep. It seems like audio's fine. But yeah, today we don't actually have any live battles, but instead we will be showcasing a bunch of battle replays from last week. The Friday night tournaments hosted by CoolUmbrella. And actually that wasn't actually happening on a Friday night due to some delays, I believe. Anyways, first of all, we'll be showing this replay over here, which is from yesterday's Friday night tournament between Big JP and Tistimonen. Yeah. Between Dark Elves and Khorne. As a little bit of warm up before going into the actual replays from last week. Because this replay was from yesterday and I didn't get to cast it during the stream from yesterday. And yeah, we'll just cast this live and wait for a few more viewers to join the stream. Yep. Anyways. Oh, and I totally forgot to post this somewhere else. Hold on a second. Anyways. Now, for the army builds on both sides, Big JP is going for a Dark Elf skirmishing build with a full front line of Black Arquebuses with handbolts backed up by 4 Dread Spears and a whole lot of mobility, a bunch of Khorne Knights, actually 3 Khorne Knights spread out across the battlefield, and then 4 Dark Riders. In disguise, of course, the Lore of Cheese OP... Well, it's not really cheese, but the Lore of Soul Stealer plus Opal Amulet on the Sorceress of Dark Magic, while the Khorne army is going for a full front line of Bloodletters of Khorne, supported by a bunch of Minotaurs, and on the flanks a whole lot of Fleshhounds. Is there more hounds? No, just Fleshhounds. Yep, just Fleshhounds. 4 Fleshhounds. And right at the start of the battle, the decision to get Bloodletters of Khorne is already biting to this Testimonen's, yeah, name's a bit long, can't really pronounce it well, but yeah, the decision to bring Bloodletters, possibly trying to cut through the possible Harganev Executioners and Black Arquebuses and whatnot, is already biting Testimonen's in the back here, with these light armored Bloodletters suffering massively at the hands of the hand bows. On the flanks, the Khorne mobility is moving in place, with the Minotaurs of Khorne with great weapons pushing forward. In the middle, the Minotaurs, who are not with great weapons but with sword, with axe and shield, are plowing into the front line as well. A massive breath attack, blasting away some of these Bloodletters, reducing their melee attack down to 24. And now the Dread Spears are holding the line. A little bit of a Spear of Sleipnir, weakening these Black Arquebuses, while the rest of the infantry for the Dark Elves are being blended down by a whole lot of Bloodletters, especially these guys here, being buffed up by the Horn of Khorne with that additional melee attack. They are punching through those Dark Elf defenses, but the real power of the Dark Elves lies in the handbows, and they're still skirmishing, while the Bloodletters doesn't really have the speed to catch up just yet, especially when they're stuck on Dread Spears. Over here, Khorne Knights being cut down by the Minotaurs. Now the Fleshhounds really need to start pressuring the Black Arquebuses, but even if they get into melee combat with these guys, they're not going to have a good time, because they are now buffed up by the Murderous Prowess, getting additional melee attack and weapon and charge bonus. Not really weapon strength, but that additional melee attack is definitely helping here. While the Bloodletters are still being slowed down, being kited away by enemy units, Minotaurs will need to push up, while Valkyria the Bloody here is stuck on some Dark Riders. Unfortunately, this is not a Lord with great splash attack, as she's a little bit more like a duelist. Her hit splash damage doesn't really hit that many models, and actually struggles to kill through all these Dark Riders. Anyways, Black Arquebuses, all of them are fully online. These guys are down to half HP, but still having 100 models left. So really all the damage were from the Spear of Sleipnir. Now Fleshhounds are trying to catch up with the Black Arquebuses, but they will be caught, intercepted by the Dark Riders at the back there. There are some disintegrated, faded Fleshhounds, and these very healthy Fleshhounds needs to start getting over here and start tying down the Black Arquebuses. While Valkyria the Bloody also needs to pursue the Supreme Sorceress, and the Minotaur's a little bit of a sloppy micro here on the to the Testimonin side here, as a lot of units are not actually pressuring the Black Ark Corsairs and are trying to finish off the Dark Riders. But finally, the Minotaurs and Fleshhounds are moving on to these Black Ark Corsairs over here. But these guys are still just freely roaming around the battlefield, getting their hands on whatever they can fire. Also, there's not a lot of magic used up by the Sorceress of Dark Magic so far, and she still have plenty of healing to go. Valkia is now engaging the Supreme Sorceress here alongside the support of some Bloodletters of Khorne. But now, the Bloodletters either needs to back off or start pressuring the Black Ark Corsairs, because they are... Excuse me for a sec there. But yeah, they are not enjoying that kite at all. Especially when there's a Soul Stealer coming in to drain away everything's health. Oh god, this hurts, because Valkia pulled back, the Soul Stealer actually covered one of the Minotaur unit. These guys also being drained by Soul Stealer is just fading into the Immaterium once more. Good news though is that one of the Black Ark Corsairs are finished off and possibly will be chased down, but the bad news is that Balance of Power is still dead even for Khorne. And there's still a lot of damage to give for these Black Ark Corsairs. 4 of them are still online, some of them still have plenty of ammo to give. Yeah, things are not looking well for the Khorne army so far. And with the handballs continues to kite plus a breath attack, these remaining Bloodletters are gonna get obliterated as well. And wait, what? Oh, probably they were chasing after some routed units at the back there, so fulfilling the attacking rule. But now some of the Black Ark Corsairs who ran out of ammo are charged by the Bloodletters and Minotaurs, but really they should be just ignoring these Black Ark Corsairs and go for the ones with ammo and shut them down. But alas, unfortunately, they are just blobbing up around this one single unit, allowing the rest of the Black Ark Corsairs to expand their ammo. We'll be doing more fast forward here as the rest of the Dark Elf forces are being slowly shot down to pieces. Good news is that Supreme Sorceress is tied down for quite a bit by the Minotaurs and suffered massive damage. Bad news is that this one remaining unit of Fleshhounds is almost being completely worked down. Bloodletters going to engage the Black Ark Corsairs, taking a few more volleys in the face, being charged by the Supreme Sorceress. She's gonna get finished off by the final few strikes as well. Now Minotaurs being buffed up by the Horn of Khorne, trying to get a better engagement against the Supreme Sorceress, but unfortunately just not able to get the surround there, and a massive Soul Stealer coming in, draining the hit points away from the Minotaur, from the Supreme Sorceress, and the Fleshhounds of Khorne. Things are actually looking pretty damn even at this point, but Valkia the Body continues to chase down the Supreme Sorceress, while the Supreme Sorceress attempts to just really finish off the Minotaurs. Now Valkia here is standing alone on the battlefield all by herself. There's still 10 troops on the field, 3 Minotaurs and something else. What? Okay, now the rest of the troops are also gone. So really it's just Valkia the Bloody and those 3 Minotaurs who will not be coming back anytime soon. Anyways, Valkia tried to chase off the Supreme Sorceress, but she lands, allowing the Black Ark Corsairs to come and tie her down. She is unable to pull out of this fight because there is a lack of engaging units right now, and the rest of the Black Ark Corsairs will join this fight one after the other, while the Soul Stealer is being charged up by the Sorceress of Dark Magic. Another one goes down, draining her health. Now the units here will be going for that one final engagement, surrounded by Black Ark Corsairs, being punched by the massive weapon strength of the Supreme Sorceress, a little bit of psycho charging as well. Valkia's leadership gives way, and that will be the victory of Big JP. And yeah, and after that, Big JP went on through the tournament, and I think he won the tournament in the end. Yeah. Let me just have a quick check. I think he won the tournament in the end. Yep, he did went on to and win off the entire tournament in the end. A very solid performance from Big JP here with, of course, Soul Stealer, as always, a very balanced spell, of course, carrying the game here. But other than that, a really nice kiting army with the Black Ark Corsairs. Have been seeing them quite a lot these days. Their kiting prowess is definitely worth noting because, well, one, they can shoot pretty decently, and they can fight pretty decently as well with their solid melee stats, heavy armor. Other than that, the Koa Knights didn't really do too well here. Everything is basically a counter to them other than the Flesh Hounds of Khorne, while the Dark Riders basically perform some interception trying to tie down the Flesh Hounds of Khorne. And yeah, Dread Spears getting some okay value, nothing too substantial, while Khorne's army here, the Minotaurs as always still being a very solid unit. Their armor piercing being key in cutting down all these armored cavalry monsters and whatnot, but just not quite able to carry the game, and especially the one with the shields and not great weapons. For the Bloodletters, this is probably not a great pick against the elves. You probably want something like going wider, perhaps. Shielded Marauders, just going full on wide, and perhaps some warriors, perhaps even. Like, Bloodletters are not bad when you're specifically fighting against armored infantry, but there's the thing, against anything with missiles, their lack of armor just really hurts them, even with their physical resistance. Flesh Hounds did okay, nothing too substantial as they were being hounded by a lot of the Dark Riders and also shot by the Blackguard Corsairs. Valkyria the Bloody tried to carry the game, but in the end not quite enough, as she is not exactly a crowd clearing lord. Again, her splash attack aren't great, so I guess that's why we had the trailer where she got beaten up by a lot of stuff, by a lot of enemy marauders, I suppose. But yeah, Corsairs with handballs are great anti-air units. Indeed they are. Even if there's like harpies and stuff, they can't get shut down easily because they're just a decent fighter in general. Now, let me check. I do have my water bottle here, so we should be ready for a full cast of everything. And hopefully we'll finish everything before we hit the 1.5 hour mark of streaming, because, well, we do have another battle coming in, another tournament coming in, and Gojira's is gonna stream his tournament. I think he's gonna stream it in roughly an hour and 50 minutes. Okay, so right, let's get the whole thing started. First of all, we have Rider of Rohan versus Storm Runner. With Rider of Rohan going for his elves, the wood elves here, against Storm Runner's green skins. Now, I don't think I only checked out a few battles of them, and I didn't really see them till the end, so I don't actually know the outcome of combat. And yeah, let's enjoy the battle, sit back, and see what awaits us in the replays. Now, of course, we need to wait for it to load. It's taking its time. Okay, cool. We're in the battles now with the army built here, a front line of Dryads from Rider of Rohan, Sisters of Twilight leading the army, backed up by a whole bunch of Glade Guards. Actually, 5 Glade Guards supported by Great Stack Knights on both flanks. One of them, the Lost Sylvan Knight. Seeing that the nasty Skulkers being Vanguard deployed, they are slamming straight into these Skulkers and will be destroying them in a single charge. While in the middle of the Greenskins army, a whole bunch of goblins, orc biggins, and of course the rather OP Snotling pump wagons against cavalry these days. In the forest, Vanguard deployed Night Goblin, Squig Hoppers, Night Goblin War Boss on his Squigs, and more Squig Hoppers and another nasty Skulker. The Lost Silver Knights will be slamming straight into the Flapper Snotling pump wagons and taking massive damage on impact because they are broken right now against cavalry models. More units are flooding in to surround the Lost Silver Knights, and even with their physical resistance, they are getting shredded in this melee combat, while the rest of the Dryad front line are shredding through the goblins instead. The Great River Troll Hack is also engaging into combat here, trying to slam into the Orc Biggins. Now, where is the Spellcaster of the High Elves? Because I can't see shit right now. Spellsinger of Life coming in with Regrowth and Earth Blood. I hate this map's lighting. Sometimes the game has some horrible lighting. For example, this map. Anyways, there's actually some Thief Robbers here with their chariot mass, they can actually run down the Glade Guards pretty efficiently, just piling straight through the missile infantry, and the Great Stag Knights are trying to hunt down the chariots. Now they are even slamming into the back of the Dryads, breaking them in with a rear charge. Now Lost Silver Knights are routed, and they're probably not getting back unless they receive some heals. Glade Guards have been firing the whole time, trying their best to shoot down enemy units, and that is working right now with the Snarling Pump Wagons taking substantial damage. The Sisters of Twilight are now dropping into melee combat, trying to get rid of that Great River Troll hack with the support of some Great Stag Knights, who are now pulling into some Orc Biggins they want to get out of there, because that anti-large bonus would not be doing them any favor right now. Even the Biggin is coming into combat right now, aiming to crush some puny elves, while Sisters of Twilight are chasing down the Giant River Troll hag. Orc Biggins doing great against enemy infantry until they start fighting against Blade Singers. I totally forgot to highlight them in the army deployment, but they are fighting with a bit of Wireling Death activated now, giving them extra base weapon damage. But I do think that against Orc Biggins, perhaps they might want to... Wait, no. They used to have more armor than 50. Okay, never mind. Against Orc Biggins, yeah. Wireling Death is definitely something they want to activate for sure. On the far side, Lost Silver Knights fighting, they have regrouped and fighting against the Night Goblin Squig Hoppers, but unfortunately with such a low health pool, even with a physical resistance, they will eventually be routed, even with the support of the Glade Guards. While over here, Sisters of Twilight engaging in battle as well, doing some nice attacks, especially against the Orc Biggins, using that fear trait on the Eagle to lower the leadership of surrounding units, but she is now rampaged by the mushrooms, I think. Fermented fungi, yes indeed, because we have the Night Goblin War Boss here fighting Giant River Troll hag, slamming into combat, but with her lack of armor, she'll get shot up pretty badly by the Glade Guards, who can fire while moving, and they're just firing at whatever units they can get their hands on. Now, unfortunately, most of the front line of the Wood Elves are gone, unless you're talking about this one Dryad and some Blade Singers at the back here. The Night Goblin War Boss will be dueling the Spellsinger of Life, but then, of course, Sisters of Twilight, seeing the Spellcaster is in danger, is coming back to help, while the Biggin here is just walking menacingly. Yeah, he's a massive combatant. Actually, what the hell? Okay, she's just smashing some Dryads, but then the attacking animation helped him dodge the whole volley of Sisters of Twilight Scattershot, and there goes a little bit of damage. Now finally the shots are coming in, but I'm pretty sure Rider of Rohan forgot to switch over to the focus shot, so unfortunately not the most efficient damage against Biggin right here, but Sisters of Twilight will be diving down onto the Night Goblin Squig Hoppers, routing them with the help of some Glade Guards in melee. As weird as I say it, yes, they are fighting in melee. Not that they have bad melee stats, really. Like 21 attack, 28 melee defense is not that bad, honestly. And yeah, they are retreating right now while these Glade Guards are running away from the Orc Biggins. The Blade Singers are rushing in to cut them down, and with their anti-infantry bonus, healing, and all that, they should be doing just fine. While Sisters of Slaughter will continue shooting, now aiming at the Night Goblin War Boss. Did she change her ammo? Well, we shall see. I have no idea just yet. But, oh wait, no. She's just going straight into melee combat, trying to prevent any friendly fire and conserve some ammo. Yep, she has not changed ammo just yet. But either way, that's enough for the Wood Elves to break the Night Goblin Squig Boss. And yeah. All that's left on the field is the Biggin here, being focus fired by a whole lot of Glade Guards, surrounded by armor-piercing infantry. I assume the Blade Singers should still be fighting. No? No, they're still fighting, actually. Wireling Death is still active, but they probably want to switch over to their armor-piercing stance right now. Either ways, we'll be fast-forwarding at this point, as the Biggin is now focus fired by everything on the field, even without any armor piercing on all these Glade Guards. Like, they are all regular Glade Guards. So that kind of volume of fire will still work down the Biggin right there. And that is the victory of Rider of Rohan and his Wood Elves. Oh, hey, Rider of Rohan, we're showcasing your replay right now. Yep, it is your victory indeed. Now we'll be going into the next battle, which is Fat Kid at Recess versus Captain Schmuck. I'm not sure if this is a if this is any foul language here, but whatever. Either way, army builds wise, Warriors of Chaos is going wide with their Marauder frontline, 5 of them with great weapons, 1 of them with regular variant, and then 3 great weapon Chaos Warriors, 1 of them the Nurgle variant, and then we have the Knights of the Brazen Throne, 2 Manticores supported, led by the ever chosen Archaon himself. Dark Elves, of course, we have the usual stuff. Sorceress of Dark Magic with the lore of Soul Stealer, a front line of Bleak Swords backed up by Witch Elves, a couple Dark Shards, and flanked by some very elite Black Gods of Nagaron. Actually, 3 of them are on the field, and also a single Hellebronite. Now for the long-range firepower, we have a single Witch Elves protecting the Reaper Bolt Thrower, and that's it for the army builds on both sides. We do have to check what spells the Archaon bring. Spirit Leech, Burning Head, pretty standard stuff, and also Slayer of Kings and Fight or Die. We'll be fast-forwarding here as it is basically... Wait! This is not a Lore of Soul Stealer, it is a Lore of Fire. Okay, now things are getting hot and spicy. Flamestorm and also Fireball. A Burning Head really nicely cast onto the Witch Elves and actually hit the Dark Shards at the back, absolutely obliterating both units. Very unfortunate for Captain Ram Schmuck there, while the Reaper Bolt Thrower are trying their best to just dish out the damage against all those infantry, thin them out before the eventual shutdown of the Reaper Bolt Throwers. There's no mobility on the field for the Dark Elves, which is a concern because there's nothing to stop the Knights of Brazen Throne once they charge in. Now we'll be doing fast forward once again as the Supreme Sorceress of Fire is just sitting up there, taking some damage already, possibly from the Overcast Fireball or some Spirit Leech, not sure. But anyways, Burning Head going down the line on the Dark Shards, who is rather clumped up with a thick formation. Now the Burning Head is going down the line onto a few of these artillery crew. And the Supreme Sorceress is returning with a Flamestorm, trying to wreck all these Marauders with great weapons, but unfortunately doing a lot of friendly fire against their own Witch Elves. A very unfortunate cast right there. I don't think that's the greatest option right here. Probably a Burning Head would work better because it is just going straight back into your own infantry right now. Very unfortunate. With the sheer numbers of Marauders and Chaos Infantry, Knights of Brazen Throne also plowing into the back line, the Dark Elf formation is in quite a bit of disarray. The Dark Elf Supreme Sorceress tries to dive down and just stabilize the situation, especially when 2 Manticores are hounding her from the skies, and well, yeah, she's taking a lot of damage from the monster sniping right here. Black Gods of Nagaron pulling back, but they're also being chased down by the Marauders with great weapons. Definitely not a great fight for them, giving out a lot of free damage, while Archaon the Everchosen is unstoppable. The Murderous Prowess is activated, giving a lot of melee buffs to the Dark Elf Infantry, but that is not exactly enough here. And another massive charge from the Knights of Brazen Throne, obliterating another unit of Dark Shards, and there goes all the missile support for the Dark Elves. The Reaper Bolt Throwers are attempting to get back online, but unfortunately with all these Marauders in the vicinity, they can't actually get back onto their artillery, while the Supreme Sorceress of Fire, without any magic healing her, yep, she's not gonna stand on for too long in this combat. Rampage being weird again, the Chaos Thrill Manticore stayed a little bit too long in the skies, but then now jumping down, and the Supreme Sorceress of Fire will be chased down, and at this point it is pretty much a sure victory for the Warriors of Chaos as well as for Fat Kid at Recess. We can basically fast forward here as the leadership gets finished off for the Dark Elves, and now only the Black Gods of Nagaron are putting any decent resistance against Warriors of Chaos. But even so, they are just overwhelmed by all those armor-piercing attacks from the Knights of Brazen Throne, just slamming straight into their rear and doing some nice impact damage. And after that, Army Losses was hit. Oh, this is Captain Morgan. Okay. Okay, haven't seen him in a while, but yeah. For the army performances, Knights of Brazen Throne still having that potency of a charge impact damage. They still have the charge, their mass buff once they enter charging distance. So that actually boosted their charge damage by a whole lot. Archaon, a solid lord as always, and the rest of the armor-piercing infantry swarming the Dark Elf lines was rather effective. And also, the 2 Manticore hunting down the Supreme Sorceress means that they earned back quite a bit of value for what they did. For the Dark Elves here, I do think that bringing Supreme Sorceress of Fire against a faction with Spirit Leech is not the greatest idea. Because there's nothing to heal up Supreme Sorceress, and Soul Stealer is just so good for the Dark Elves right now. There's really no reason not to take them. Blackguards of Nagaron did pretty meh damage. I guess these guys did better and also saw more action in fighting, while the other two just got wrecked by not by the combat, but by simply losing in balance of power. Witch Elves did pretty meh. Unfortunately, a lot of friendly fire from their own Flame Storm, and also being overwhelmed by the numbers game again. Normally, they would do well against the Marauders with their decent melee stats and whatnot, but they don't actually have bonus. Wait, do they? Yeah, they do have bonus versus infantry. Never mind. But yeah, they're just a glass cannon unit, which is rather unfortunate. Reaper Bolt Throwers and the Dark Shards got completely shut down. These guys just obliterated by a single burning head. Very unfortunate for them, and these guys got slammed in the back by a bunch of Knights of Brazen Throne. The Hellbrunni did meh, and the Bleak Swords did okay against the Marauder front line. Now, for the next battle here, we have Stormrunner. Okay, Black Knight versus Rurik. In a classic grudge match, we have the Dark Elves versus High Elves. Oh, hey, Strat. Hi, nice to see you here. And Black Knight is also here. Just in time, actually. We are casting a replay, Black. And yeah, Shaz is here as well. We have a decent turnout for a very sudden stream. And yeah. Also, have fun with your trip, Strat. Like, safe flight. For the army builds here between Black Knight and Rurik, Black Knight is on the other side actually. Rurik is going for Dark Elves, a front line of Blackguard Corsairs, Bleak Swords, and a whole lot of Blackguard Corsairs really, just trying to overwhelm the... Wow, this is a wide line. Going all the way, stretching all the way across half the battlefield. Actually still going there with a bunch of Dark Riders with shields in the forest. Same goes for the other side. Yep, Dark Riders with shields, and then some Crows of Cain, Harpies in the skies. There's also the lore of... Okay, this is in a language I do not understand, but yeah. Lore of Soul Stealer on the Supreme Sorceress No Opal Amulet, though, might be a mistake if they're taking damage, because that damage resistance is really key to make the use of HP, make those HP more efficient in tanking damage. Anyways, for the other side here, Black Knight going for a front line of spears and backed up by the talents of Torculator and a whole lot of Lothan Sea God. Definitely trying to go for that fire synergy here, I assume, with Imrik, his star lands providing flaming attacks and also fire breaths. There's also Lord of Dragons, Dragonhorn, and some more cavalry in the forest. Dragon Prince, actually 2 Dragon Princes on the field, and that's about it. We'll be doing a bit fast forward here just to be a bit more efficient with our time. Hey, we need to do some fast forward here. We need to finish everything before we hit the 1.5 hour mark. So, yep, we'll be fast forwarding as the spears are still slowly marching towards the enemy front line, while the Blackguard Corsairs are just holding on, and a little bit of damage already on the spears from the breath attack of the Supreme Sorceress. Now the archers are opening fire at the Blackguard Corsairs. Despite their 80 armor, they are not that resistant to a large volume of arrow fire, and you can see that there's a very noticeable dent. I say dent, but like more like half the HP gone in their HP bar. Now they're moving on to the other unit, and yeah, the first Blackguard Corsairs are taking substantial damage. Spears moving into position to intercept, and also Dragon Princes slamming in, and they're not braced because they're advancing and will be taking massive impact damage. A very nice micro from Black Knight, while the spears are pulling back over on this flank, trying to retreat into a position to form up their ranks. Soul Stealer already coming down as the Supreme Sorceress is taking some noticeable damage from all the focus fire, hitting 3 units of High Elf Infantry. Dragon Princess continues to cycle charge, trying to disrupt the advance of the Blackguard Corsairs. The spears are getting cut down indeed, and all these Dark Elf mobility are trying to get into position. There's actually a single Cold One Knight here, but yeah, they're trying to get into position to perform their charge. Especially they're looking to overwhelm the High Elf back line. One of the spears already buckling. The others are also gonna follow suit as they're taking more and more damage throughout the combat. Imric down on the ground, punching a whole bunch of Cold One Knights and are doing some very, very nice damage with the support of the Dragon Princes. But the thing is, there's still a lot of infantry and mobility to kill, as now the Talons, the Loafen Sea Guard are all being disrupted by enemy mobility. Crows of Cain are feasting on the Loafen Sea Guard right now, doing some very nice impact damage and also healing themselves up with their Feast of Crows. Yeah, the Crow Feast ability. Now things are looking fairly even on the balance of power, but I do think that the High Elves are in a disadvantage right now, as the sheer number of the Dark Elves are really weighing down their front line and back line at the same time. Spears buckling everywhere, and now even the Loafen Sea Guard has been routed. That means the Dragon Princes have the sole responsibility to carry the entire game. The Mage of Life are very unfortunately being punted over there, being knocked back, unable to cast that, I assume, regrowth on the Dragon Princes, denying them from that heal. Another Soul Stealer going down, this time probably is going to hit Imric. Nope, not going to hit Imric, he's right on the edge of the spell cast, only hitting the Mage of Life and, well, some Dragon Princes. Not saying that's a bad cast at all, because after all, it hit the Dragon Princes, ignoring their physical resistance and armor and doing some pretty nice damage. And yeah, things are looking very thin for the High Elves on the ground. More Earth Bloods are coming in to heal up the Dragon Princes, while Imric is still rampaging among the Dark Elf forces. But I honestly don't think he can carry his game against so many infantry and cavalry units. Loafen Sea Guard, more and more of them are being routed, and they are trying to regroup in the forest, but the Crows of Cain are continuously hounding them in the face. Over here, Dragon Princes being chased, pressured by the Harpies, and Dark Riders will be taking some noticeable damage as well. Imric being surrounded by enemy infantry is not going to have a good time, because while he is a very powerful combatant, the large hitbox of the dragons means that a lot of units can actually come into contact with him right now and start dishing damage. You can see that there's like 3, 10, there's like dozens of units coming in contact with the dragon model, and yeah, dragons do not like to get surrounded, especially by armor-piercing units like the Cold Knights, with multiple units coming into contact with him. His rear, his flanks all have less melee defense, especially his rear having 0 melee defense against enemy units. So yeah, once the dragon got surrounded, he will be taking substantially more damage than if he's supported by his own units. And being surrounded by Cold Knights, he was unable to take off and was trapped right there in the melee fight, while over here the last of the High Elf units are trying to put up some resistance against the Dark Elf army, but it is just not possible. And there goes the High Elves, and it will be victory for Rurik's Dark Elves. But yeah, Soul Stealer is still very strong here. 3,400 gold worth of damage value. Very, very strong indeed. Yeah, Soul Stealer, the lore of Soul Stealer at this point is a thing now, I feel like, because nobody ever takes any other spell other than Soul Stealer in the lore of Dark Magic. For the rest of the army here, we have the Cold Knights doing pretty okay. Perhaps this is the one surrounding Imric and beating him down. And the Harpies did alright. Dark Riders did pretty solidly. They are just kind of mostly for there to rush down the archers, disrupt their firing and all that, while Black Corsairs trading very well against the spears with their anti-infantry bonus and their heavy armor, while the Dress Spears and Bleak Swords are mostly there to bolster the numbers and try to wrap around and overwhelm the High Elf formation. For the High Elves, we have the Dragon Princes doing okay. This one got back their valor, this one did not. And Imric did some decent damage, but against so much anti-large armor-piercing cavalry, he was just not able to carry his own weight here, while the rest of the army, Loafen, Sea Guard, all got disrupted by Dark Riders and whatever Dark Elf infantry there was. Talons of Torgaleda did pretty decently, and Spears got ran over by the combination of Black Corsairs and Black Corsairs. So, GG to both players. Now we move on to the next battle. We can't really take our time here. Okay, cool. We have Rurik this time versus Rescue Mimont from Calzonazos, which is also known as Coitus interfratus. Yeah. The Kingdom Battle game. Oh wow, something's going on in the... Strat Game's probably not starting enough warp dust with his Skaven builds. But yeah, things are gonna be rough on the trip, I guess. That's what happened to me when I was in Amsterdam. I was like, I'm in Amsterdam, chillin'. But wait, I'm thinking about Warhammer now. Maybe I should post. But I feel like I've got new ideas for videos and whatnot. And also new ideas for builds and whatnot, but yeah. Anyways, this game does get to you sometimes. Anyways, for the army builds here for Rurik as the Wood Elves, we have a front line of Weight Watchers, 3 of them in fact, and at the back a whole lot of cavalry, Wild Riders, Wild Hunters of Kernus, and the Sisters of the Thorn, who has indeed some bound spells. Curse of Honorair with 1 cast and 2 casts for Shield of Thorns. For the infantry wise, we have a few Eternal Gods flanked by some Dryads, while on the other side, a whole lot of Shadow Warriors. Oh god, this is gonna be bad for the Weight Watchers here, because this 4 units of Shadow Warriors nuking a single Weight Watcher with their volleys, while the Dragon Princes will be there to fend off the Wild Riders and the Sisters of the Thorn. Very unfortunate here, as the army build wise, Rurik is already in a massive disadvantage. They might try to run down the Shadow Warriors, but the Dragon Princes with their heavy armor and great charge bonus will wreck those Wild Hunters of Kernus, while the Weight Watchers will struggle to defend themselves once the mobility are dead. So yeah, while the rest of the Dark Elf, Wood Elf infantry move forward, the Wild Riders who got YOLO'd straight into the depths of the High Elf formation got absolutely obliterated, as the Weight Watchers were not quite in the position to support. Sisters of the Thorn did tank out quite a bit of damage from the Dragon Princes, Malkoff's Mystifying Miasma draining their health right now, but the Weight Watchers are not really in the position to provide fire support. And at this point, all 3 mobility units of the High Elf army have taken some devastating damage and pretty much out of commission at this point, as there's no healing on the field for the Wood Elves. And yeah, they're just getting shot right now. Very unfortunate. I would personally just bring a full-on melee rush build, trying to overwhelm the spears and just run down everything on the side of the High Elves. But alas, I haven't played Wood Elves against High Elves for quite a while, so I'm not quite sure how this matchup will go. But anyways, Weight Watchers shooting at the Dragon Princes, but there's not enough mobility to protect them, and the Dragon Princes are getting onto the expensive underbelly Weight Watchers, the very fragile missile core. Even the Star Dragon is diving down with the support of Alario, and there goes all 3 units of Weight Watchers being chased down by all those High Elf mobility. A little bit of a stuttering for some reason, not sure why. But yeah, sometimes, I don't know why, but sometimes I receive replays and then play them, and yeah, they just stutters a bit. Especially, these are actually before the performance patch, so that's probably the reason. Yeah. These are pretty much, wait, no, these are after the performance patch, so strange. Anyways, that doesn't matter, as we can pretty much ignore those stuttering as we're fast forwarding right now, as the High Elf army is methodically picking off all these routed elements of the Wood Elves, while Dryshot, despite still fighting and there's still a few Eternal Gods on the field, the Wood Elves really have a massive disadvantage of balance of power right now, with the Shadow Warriors shooting down every single Wood Elf unit on the field, and there's not much the Wood Elves can do after all their mobility are gone from the battle. As you can see here, all of them didn't really do that much damage, especially with Dragon Princes heavily countering the Wild Riders with their heavy armor high charge bonus. Dryshot did some decent damage, not the greatest, still not able to recover his own cost, while the Weight Watcher is getting absolutely obliterated by a combination of Shadow Warriors and Dragon Princes. The Wood Elf melee infantry didn't manage to do much here. Most of them still very healthy, but the Missile Corps and the Lord God took enough damage, the Mobility took enough damage, while the High Elves still have most of their forces intact, means that the High Elves simply crushed them by the sheer balance of power present, as the Dragon Princes took some very good, very cost-effective engagement. The Star Dragon not taking much damage, and the Shadow Warriors simply out-trade Weight Watchers in a straight-up firefight. Spears didn't really need to do much here, as Shadow Warriors and Dragon Princes did most of the work here, especially Alario. If we go into the replay file once again, we can see that Alario did bring her Shield Stone of Isha. Boon of Isha. Shield Stone of Isha is for the physical resistance. Boon of Isha provides additional magic attacks, which means the surrounding units around Alario can ignore that physical resistance on any units of the Wood Elves, unless the Wood Elves bring Zotes onto the field, which can remove magic attacks. Then that's a whole different question. But overall, High Elves have a major advantage over Wood Elves because of their strong armored their armored mobility. For the next battle, we have Captain Rumschmuck, I assume Captain Morgan, going against Be'lakor. Both are taking meta units, with Be'lakor going heavily meta here. Double great weapons, bow centaurs, a single magma cannon, as well as Astrogoth, the OP Lord. Okay, while we're just waiting for the game to load, let's check the chat here. Oh well, looks like Black Knight is having a tough time with his love life. A love triangle between, a love triangle between his circle between him, the game, and his partner. Well, for the army builds here, Captain Rumschmuck, or / Captain Morgan, I assume, a whole front line of skink cohorts with javelins, and then on the flank some red crested skinks. They are very cost effective against the Chaos Dwarf infantry, with their armor piercing and frenzy. On the flanks, there's also some sacred boxagors. At the back, more boxagors as the Court of Hortal, who does have a very nice dazed contact effect, providing some additional melee defense debuff. For the aerial forces here, a whole lot of Ripprojectile Riders, just a ton of Ripprojectile Riders, really, ready to run down the Chaos Dwarf infantry. Slime Age Priest of Life here rushing forward, and already the magma cannons on the Chaos Dwarf side is already blasting apart the skink cohorts with their javelins, and the Bull Santaranders are positioning on the flanks here, a front line of Iron Sworn plus Hobgoblin Cutthroats. A little bit of a friendly fire there, smashing into Astrogoth, but not doing much damage to him. While the Fire Glaives are blasting away at the Ripprojectile Riders, who does have some missile resistance and also a janky bird model, so they're not taking that much damage on the first volley. But the real danger is all these blasting charges from the Blazing Beards, Infernal Iron Swans, and whatnot, being a massive threat to all those skink infantry here. One volley and that's pretty much a single red crested skink gone. Boxagors are just holding back as the skink cohorts are working down the goblin laborers so that the red crested skinks can move in and deal with the Infernal Iron Swan, but unfortunately not gonna be done in time, as the goblin laborers are still holding, while the red crested are taking some minor damage. Full on blast in their face now with the armor piercing blasting charges. Another unit of skink cohort gone here, while the Ripprojectile Riders will be moving into position to swarm enemy units. Anyways, the Court of Portal is just holding back in case enemy units will start shooting them, while the Bull Centaurs engaging in the front line trying to work down the Sacred Proxagors, but the Colossodon Hunter counter charge will be coming in from the back, doing some really nice impact damage. That's a lot of anti-launch damage going on in the vicinity, while the Ripprojectile Riders will be swarming Astrogoth and possibly the Magma Cannons, but then the Hobgoblin Cutthroats are here, and they're doing some massive damage against Ripprojectile Riders with the help of Astrogoth. Now, one unit of Ripprojectile Riders is already gone, as they were trying to swarm the Infernal God, but the anti-launch and charge defense on these guys are holding ground for sure. While the Lizardman is already losing a lot of forces, the Chaos Dwarfs are still having a pretty decent time so far. And a little bit of a heal going down on the Ripper Dactyl Riders, possibly a regrowth. Yep, a regrowth for sure. Trying to keep those Ripper Dactyls in the fight so that they can now swarm the Iron Glaive Fire, the Fire Glaive Inferno Gods. But then both Center Renders are here to cut them down, while the Lizardmen are having a little bit of a rough time trying to cut through the Inferno Iron Swans. Court of Water finally activated, now moving into position, trying to go after the Magma Cannon, who is blasting away at the Skinks. More Skinks breaking through the weaker flanks of the Chaos Dwarves. Now, more and more Ripper Dactyl Riders flooding into the position here, but they are only temporarily shutting down the Inferno Gods with their Fire Glaives. Now they're turning around to shoot up the Court of Portal, and things are not looking too great for the Lizardmen right now. Without any options, they don't actually have the options to deal with the armored infantry right now. Not bringing Banishment might have been a mistake for the Lizardmen for sure. While the Blood Statuette can still be used to drain away the enemy's health, but yeah, with all these blobbed up infantry, Banishment would be really nice over here. Would be a massive boon for sure. But yeah, so far things are not looking great for the Lizardmen. Their push is mostly stalled. They're still doing damage to the Inferno Guard, especially with the Blood Statuette and these Ripper Dactyls still fighting in the fray. A little bit of heal coming in for the Court of Portal, a regrowth indeed. But being surrounded by Bull Centers, things are not looking too bright for them. Anyway, so we'll be doing a bit of fast forward here as the armies are trying to grind it out. Court of Portal trying to dish out some damage against the Bull Centers with the help of the Colossadon Hunters here, but it seems that Bull Centers being Bull Centers are simply pulling it out just fine. And at this point, there's not a lot of armor piercing left against the Inferno Iron Swan, and there goes the Chaos Dwarf army, and victory shall belong to the Chaos Dwarfs. Really, damn it, CA, nerf Bull Centers, please. They're just sitting there and doing all kinds of damage without taking much damage in return. I feel like even their melee models are bugged in terms of melee combat, so they're not taking as much damage as they should be when they're colliding with enemy units. I don't know. Somebody needs to do more testing about this, but yeah, Inferno Iron Swan solidly holding their ground without taking much damage, and yeah, mostly just Bull Centers carrying the game, really. Unfortunately for the Lizardmen, their gambit with the Ripper Dactyls and their Croxagores aren't actually paying off here, especially the Croxagores not doing much damage and taking a lot of damage in return from the Inferno Glaives, and Fire Glaives, Inferno Gods, the Iron Sworn, and the Bull Centers especially, just beating them down straight up without any healing or stat buffs whatsoever. Perhaps some stat buffs in terms of Flaming Sword of Ruin, but that's about it. For the Lizardman, yeah, unfortunately, really only the Colossadon Hunters and the Court of Portal doing much damage here. The rest of the army not doing much, especially the Skinks getting blasted by blasting charges or the Magma Cannon. Yeah, they need to nerf the Magma Cannon as well. The Vortex effect is way too damaging than they should be. CoolUmbrella, just waiting for the Nurgle and High Elf replay coming. Honestly, depending on the situation, I might not be casting it because I am making it into a full-on battle replay, and I actually uploaded straight up to my channel already, and just waiting for release next week. So yeah, we're running low on time with only 40 minutes left. So yeah, wait, no, we have how many replays do we have? Okay, 1, 2. Sorry, CoolUmbrella, I'm skipping your Nurgle versus High Elf replay because I already casted it in as a full replay. I'm not gonna, and we're running out of time. Okay, CoolUmbrella as the Dark Elves versus Central Scrutinizer as Empire. I'm struggling in this matchup and I need to know how to fight this. Okay, Empire versus Dark Elves. Boris Todbringer with Death Magic. supporting him with 2 War Wagons, 4 Empire Knights, a single grenade launcher, 3 Pistoliers. I haven't seen these guys in a while. And a bunch of state troops, 3 Empire Swordsmen, 3 Spears, 1 with shields, 1 upgraded. And for the Dark Elves, 3 Cold War Knights, 4 Black Corsairs, 3 Dark Riders without shields, 1 Dark Riders with shields. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, Dark Riders. Yeah, 3 Wood Elf shields, 1 with shield, a bunch of Black Corsairs, Bleak Swords, Dread Spears, going for a super wide formation, and we will be, wait, what? Supreme Sorceress of Dark Magic, of Death Magic, coming in with Spirit Leech and Fate of Buna. Okay, we'll fast forward here. As the Pistolier starts opening fire with their double shot pistols, whittling down the Dark Riders, Empire Knights approaching close to the front line, but then they should be backing off, or maybe they'll just pull off a little bit of a charging. Spirit Leech draining away the Cohort Knights on the far flank, Dark Riders pressuring the Empire Knights, Pistoliers blasting away at the Dread Spears and Black Corsairs, and the Cohort Knights are actually being overloaded by all those Empire Knights and Boris Todbringer himself. Now, of course, there are some Dark Riders trying to pin down Boris Todbringer, but and also Fate of Buna deleting the Empire Knights here, but the Amethyst Wizard will be continuing with the Spirit Leech kiting, while the Pistoliers Outriders are being chased down by Dark Riders and Cohort. They might just be overextending here because there's no more infantry support for them, and might just get divided and conquered by a sheer amount of mobility, especially with the War Wagons crossfiring into the fray. Now over here on the flank, Cohort Knight and the Black Corsairs are just straight up beating up a bunch of Empire Knights and Spears. Empire Knights pulling back, and Cohort Knights are overextending for a bit here. Once the Empire Knights charge in, they will just get whittled down by all those crossfire from all angles, while the rest of the Dark Elf infantry are struggling to get into contact with the Empire infantry because the Empire infantry are kiting back, especially with this War Wagon advantage here. As they shoot and scoot, the Dark Elf units are just taking damage, and Cohort Knights being drained by Spirit Leech, getting weaker and weaker. No Fate of Buna on the Amethyst Wizard, which is a surprise here because they would probably benefit a lot by just straight up deleting the Cohort Knights with the Fate of Buna. But of course, Cohort Knights, not the most expensive cavalry, and Fate of Buna a very expensive spell. So perhaps he's Central Scrutinizer is just trying to use the magic to their fullest here. Swordsmen engaging Bleak Swords, they will be beaten, but yeah, Bleak Swords and Dread Spears, they will be beaten eventually, especially once the Murderous Prowess got charged up. But overall, they are holding on, and not too much trouble for the Empires just yet. Then they're still holding the front line. And yeah, we'll be fast forwarding a bit here as the Cohort Knights still attempting to chase and pressure the Empire mobility, is still overextending, being hunted down by Boris himself, being shot up by all kinds of crossfire, being drained by Spirit Leech, and the front line of Empire is buckling, but the Cohort Knights are so close to breaking and so close to the white line. Once they break, they would not be coming back. Yeah, especially with Boris Todbringer here, fighting around, providing a good chunk of leadership debuffs with his Blood Roar and Crush the Weak. Blood Roar minus 8 leadership, and once Crush the Weak activated, that's minus 12 leadership in total, and that's a very substantial debuff there. Anyways, Pistoliers really are continuing their kite. War Wagons as well. Balance of power is in the favor of the Empire troops for now. So Boris Todbringer is constantly healing, while the Dark Elves this time do not have any heals. Actually, the Cohort Knights managed to come back before leaving the battlefield and should be able to finish off the Empire Knights, but the kite is definitely taking its toll on the Dark Elves right now. A lot of units are being slowly whittled down, while Boris diving down to just rout off stuff straight up with leadership debuffs, his terror, his fear. Just a lot of terror bombing, leadership bombing tactics on a single unit. Like, Boris is just extremely good at these kind of stuff. Now, not Spirit Leeching the Supreme Sorcerers might be a mistake here, and also a Fate of Buna on an almost dead Empire Knights. That's definitely a waste of magic for sure. But probably just trying to use, yeah, probably just better to save up the Spirit Leeches on like War Wagons and whatnot. But unfortunately, there's not much else happening right now. So yeah, Boris diving down, being surrounded by stuff. Now all these war wagons and pistoliers are just shooting to their heart's content because nothing can actually pressure them. Now that most of these Cold Knights are pretty much dead and Dark Riders are completely gone from the battlefield. Just using up all their ammo and before being forced to charge into melee combat, and there's not a lot of stuff that can challenge Boris on the field right now. No Spirit Leech. I mean, there's Spirit Leech, but other than that, no Soul Stealer, no Armor-Piercing Cavalry, no Anti-Lodge, no, other than Bleak Swords, and yeah. There's just not much to deal with the armor of Boris and the armor of the War Wagons right now. And Boris will just be charging, skirmishes will keep on shooting, and the Supreme Sorceress of Death will be the next victim of Spirit Leech. It's a duel of Spirit Leech now. It's just two flyers just Spirit Leeching each other and see who dies first. And unfortunately, possibly the Supreme Sorceress is gonna die first at 1,900 HP, while the where's the Death caster now? Amethys Wizard having 1,700 HP, 1,100 HP. Yep. Anyways, this is a bit of a slog of an end here as the stuff continuously cycle charge their eventually the infantry of the Dark Elves will be terrified. Once they got weak enough, will be terrified and crushed by Boris Todbringer. The Supreme Sorceress of Death will be worked down, eliminated by the Spirit Leeches first, especially with the Pistoliers coming in for some poking shots. But yeah, we fast forward here. Please, fast forward. This is the fastest I can go, and now the Supreme Sorceress is dead. Everything goes into army losses, and that shall be the end of the battle. No? The Bleak Swords are still being very healthy and just holding. No, just end, please. Okay, anyways, as stuff starts to rout off the battlefield, army losses will be eventually hit. Come on, these guys, once they are gone, the army losses will be coming. Yep. As I expected, there we go. But yeah, so Core Knights getting some pretty solid damage, but we need to go fast here. Blackout Corsairs cutting through a whole bunch of state troops, Dark Riders putting up the mobility pressure, but just not quite enough to catch the faster skirmishing cavalry. Actually, they're just as fast, but then, of course, if you're just as fast and somebody's ahead of you, you can't catch up with them. Supreme Sorcerers of Death with the Fate of Fiona and Spirit Leeches did some good damage. Boris Todbringer didn't do that much damage, but he was mostly there for the leadership debuffs and terror bombing, as the rest of the damage were done by pretty much just Spirit Leeches. 1,800 gold worth of damage on that spell alone. No other spells on the field for the Empire, actually. And yeah, a little bit of kiting, decent kiting from the Pistoliers did some damage, but state troops got shredded by the Black Corsairs. Okay, next up, we need to go fast now, because we are running out of damn time. Yeah, we're skipping that screwed already. Be'lakor. Okay, there's no rule break after. Oh god, what have I got myself into? Okay, we are watching this in fast forward, because I am not gonna watch this in normal speed. It's gonna take like 20 minutes just to get through the entire replay. But yeah, Be'lakor versus Coitus Interfratus. We have Hero Goon Squad on one side, Hero Goon Squad on the other, with a rather artillery heavy army on one end and a rather rushy army on the other. So 2 rocket launchers, 2 grand cannons, 5 Jade Warriors, Gotrek, the Jade Sentinel. I forgot the Great Green Sentinel. What's the name of the thing again? Jade, the Green Guardian. And also Miao Ying. On the other, Miao Ying. For the leadership of Cathay. For the other side, Zhao Ming. We have a whole front line of Jade Warriors, a bunch of peasant archers who are getting blasted by rockets, and a whole lot of Cathay Spear peasants. Also 4 Jade Lancers to overwhelm enemy backline, and as you can see here, there's not much of a backline protection, and all these artillery will be shut down by the Jade Lancers, a very expensive unit being being shredded. Definitely a mistake for Be'lakor here, not bringing any backline protection, and he is paying a heavy... they are paying a heavy price here. But yeah, and once the artillery are gone, the harmony effect will be gone for the green Cathay as well, and that means the Jade Lancers can just cycle charge everything to death without any harmony buffing their stats or whatnot. And It seems the stuttering is back. It's probably my PC at this point then. Yeah, it's not overheating, which is good for me, I guess, but yeah, so having a bit of stuttering, we might have to put on a bit of a turbo boost. Okay, just change up the settings a bit, and hopefully we'll have a smoother fast-forwarding experience. Zhao Ming is just fighting in the blob here, supported by the dynamic duo Gotrek and Felix getting healed. Like, he doesn't have any heal himself, but once you have Gotrek and Felix on the field, you don't really have to worry about healing your lord. On the far side, the Green Guardian is still chasing after the Peasant Archers, but the rest of the Green Cathay army is just getting worked down by all those all those rear charging and hammer and anvil from the Red Cathay forces. And Coitus is going hard in the front line. The Green Guardian is having a hard time catching up to anything, honestly. And while the Green Guardian and Gotrek are still trying to chase the Peasant Long Spears, but then again, yeah, they're just trying to chase down all kinds of routed units on the field. So that might, despite that, might look like a rule break. I don't think that really is a rule break, since it is still fulfilled. The attacking rule, he's probably just pushing the attacking rule to a bit of an extreme here. Or maybe it is because of this square formation in the middle. That counts as a rule break. Anyways, they are moving forward, so that counts as approaching melee combat or something, I guess. But yeah. The stuttering really is real here. Something's... Anyways, yeah, we'll be fast forwarding here as the dynamic dual hero squad plus everything else just slamming into a fray, but a massive final no? Yeah, I think there's a final transmutation coming in. And wait, why is there a dampening effect? Oh, because Gotrek has a dampen effect with his axe. Wait, what? Wait, where is this damp? Where did the dampen effect comes from? Wait, hold on a sec. Something is dampening something, but I'm not sure what. Ooh, also a very nice warding iron providing 5% damage resistance to surrounding units, making them fighting slightly a bit more effective in melee combat. Something is dampening something, not sure what. Like, I remember Gotrek's item had a dampening, but it's probably not him. Oh wait, dampening from here. This Gotrek. Yep, dampening from Rune Axe of Gotrek. It doesn't only reduce the spell resistance, it also removes spell resistance now, making spells more potent. For example, here, if Gotrek gets hit by the dampen effect, his spell resistance would be gone. But of course, he's not actually getting hit by his clone right now, so there's no issue of spell resistance getting removed. But yeah, with that bit of final transmutation, this hero blob got countered and will be worked down. Really, just the army build alone, Coitus have a major advantage, because he can just overwhelm the artillery and then cycle charge everything on the front line to death. Then final transmutation everything in the heroic goon squad, the Cathay Doom squad to death, since everything has to stay close to fight to maximum effect. Anyways, yeah. Be'lakor probably tried to go for a bit of a... They were probably trying to gamble on their opponent going for an artillery heavy build, but it seems that the gamble did not work out. Remember, he was dragged away by Talons of the Night. Yeah. He is regrouping. Oh, well, I guess the chat is still going on with Black Knight, who has disappeared from the chat. Phoenix King, Pistoliers are great against cheese runners. Indeed, they're cheap. They can absorb the ammo, and yeah, they are just 500 gold. They can absorb the ammo, and much better than Empire Knights and stuff. While we load into the next battle, I'll be catching up with chat. Okay, it's still going on about Black Knight's love story, so I think we can conclude on that note. There's not much to catch up on in the chat. Okay, for army builds right now, Empire Lamb Sauce King. Who the hell is this? I don't even know them. Marcus Wolfhard going with a whole man-tied approach. Front line of spears backed up by a couple handgunners, and then a ton of swordsmen. the Silver Bullets and the Sterling's Revenge. Also, the Hammer of Witches and a bunch of Empire Knights on the field. Basically an almost, if not a fully 20 stack army, supported by a single Bright Wizard. On the other side, we have the very balanced Lord of Kairos Fate Weaver going with a rather thin line of Marauders, of Tinge, and a bunch of Blue Horrors, and then backed up by more Chaos Warriors and a single Chaos Warriors of Halberds. For mobility, a ton of Screamers of Tinge providing some anti-armor material. Should be able to do some solid work against enemy Empire Cavalry, but then we are having a little bit of a lull at the start of battle as both armies are forming up before approaching each other. These guys are moving forward, but just so very slowly, trying to conserve as much vigor as possible. Now Marcus is popping shots at Kairos Fate Weaver, who has popped up the Oracle of Eternity, tanking some damage here, but every bit of damage he took will be pushing him towards closer towards the heal cap. Hammer of Witches also opening fire, but at this point they probably should just shoot at a bunch of Marauders or the Chaos Warriors, because Kairos can simply dodge all kinds of artillery fire. Okay, guess we're gonna be sitting here and chill. Shaz. Oh, it's you, Shaz, as the Empire. Okay. Oh right, this is the replay you sent me. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, handguns might be an issue here because their line of sight is just not great, and their range isn't the greatest as well. Okay, this is a premature charge with the Empire Knights, just pushing them way too far up ahead and just leaving them exposed to a bunch of Blue Horror firepower. I do think Huntsman would probably be a better pick in this particular matchup, so that they can just shoot up a bunch of horrors and still have enough anti-large to handle stuff like Kairos Fate Weaver. They don't have anything to do. They don't have any options against the Chaos Warriors though. So that might be an issue. But anyways, the front line here, state troops are holding well against the Marauders and Blue Horrors, while handguns are shooting. Blue Fires continues to chip away the health of the Empire formation, and now they're opening fire at the Marauders of Tinge, but they just tank it with the shield, and they're also not doing a lot of damage to Kairos because of his shields. His shields is also gonna get recharged soon, so very unfortunate for the Empire, while Screamers will be swarming the Empire Knight. Frontline wise, we have the Blue Horrors. Blue Horrors and Marauders are slowly overwhelming the Empire frontline, and a single volley of these Blue Horror firepower is already doing some massive damage on the Sterling's Revenge. Their shorter range definitely not doing them any good here. They do have some good armor piercing though, but against the Screamers with physical resistance and not much armor, this is pretty much wasted. Also, one thing about Empire Knights is that they are a ground force, which means they can charge. They can get charged by Screamers, and Screamers cannot be charged by them. Unless, of course, when Screamers are on the ground. But either ways, the Empire Knights will be suffering at the hands of the Screamers, who tank out their charge impact with their shields of Tinge, and while they are dishing out some nice damage with the armor-piercing anti-large in return. And at this point, most of the Empire Knights are gone. There's still some fighting on this flank here, but they'll still lose to the Screamers eventually. While the handgunners, Silver Bullets especially, the expensive ones, are being disrupted by Kairos being shot up by Blue Horrors, and they won't be holding on for long. Also, handgunners here are also dragged into melee combat by the Chaos Warriors. State troops no longer holding in position to protect the backline as they're stuck on Marauders and pushing, overextending a bit here on the far side. And at this point, it is pretty much Tinge having the major advantage here. They have healing, they have mobility game, they are shutting down the Empire missile troops, and Balance of Fire is slowly edging towards the favor of the change? Wait, what is the nickname of Tinge? I forgot. Anyway, Screamers swarming this blob of Empire troops here, and yeah, things are not looking great for them, especially even with the Flaming Sword of Ruin buffing up the units nearby. Yeah, this is not going to save them, especially the wait, what? This might be a rule break here. You're not supposed to bring two nets. Yeah, this is definitely a rule break, but Shaz, if you're out there, I'm not sure. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm not sure if the BBB OG rules bans double nat, but in fruit rules, I remember you can't bring two nat abilities, even if they have limited usage. So you can't bring a light wizard and Marcus Wolfheart with his nat at the same time. Now you can bring both, but you can only take nat on one of them. So this is actually a legal build, but whatever. As you can see here, Empires are in a massive disadvantage, and pretty much, oh, Changer of Ways is the team's nickname. Okay, makes sense. But yeah, as you can see here, Empires is in a grave disadvantage, and it will be the victory of the Team army. Value-wise, really just Kairos doing blue fire, and the rest of the army here. Screamers did pretty decently, overwhelming the Empire Knights. Well, the rest of the army, oh god, the Blue Horse got some ridiculous value by shooting up those handgunners. Yeah. Marauders and Chaos Infantry did okay, just kind of push through the state troops and get into the backline. And once the backline got shut down, there is nothing the Empire can do to win back the game. Yeah. Anyways, excuse me for a bit, guys. I am going fast and try to speed run. Actually, hold on a sec. Yeah. And try to speed run the remaining 5 battles. Shaz. Yeah, I'm not sure about the BBB rules either, but just pay attention to the net. I just normally play without the I just normally play with yeah. I just normally play with only 1 net maximum so that I don't break any rules. But yeah, check in. The next tournament starts at 10. Can we finish everything in 20 minutes? We might have to speed run this. And okay. Now, speedrun. Army built swordsmen in the front line, 4 of them. Actually, interesting enough, flagellants on the flanks. Empire Knights and a single Outriders, grenade launchers, 2 war wagons already chipping away the health of the Snotling pump wagons because they are indeed broken against any cavalry, so you better just shoot them down before they can get into melee combat. A bunch of spears at the back, and that's it for... Oh, also a Hellblaster volley gun. Really liking that choice there to take down enemy infantry and cavalry alike. They are designed as an anti-infantry thing, but with the volley gun shot, the multi-shot really work well against even cavalry and monsters. Especially the penetration means that if they hit a massive monster, they will be multiplying their damage value by going through multiple hitboxes. For the Greenskins army, Snotling pump wagons with flappers, now being tied down by Empire Knights. They're supported by Orc Boys, a whole lot of Forest Goblins, Spider Riders, Squig Herds who are being routed earlier, more Squig Herds on... Wait, what? No not Squig Herds, but the Durkit Squigs on the far end here. Black Orcs pushing forward. Goblins, a very messy front line here. Orc Boys and more Goblins leading army. Wurzak, the Great Prophet, and yeah, and a whole lot of Spider Riders. Anyways, we have some messy action going on already with the Empire Knights being tied down by a bunch of yeah, engaging against the armor-piercing Orc War Boys, not the greatest engagement for them, while the Empire Knights at the back here dealing with fending off the Spider Riders. The front line, though, the Black Orcs are a little bit... the advance is a bit botched, because they are not really in the position of continuing their push, probably trying to be far away enough from the Outriders with grenade launchers, but the thing is they still have to just push and threaten the artillery at the back, especially with the Hellblaster being a very nice artillery piece to shoot up anything, really. Wurzak already taking substantial damage from the Hellblaster. Boris the Topbringer, though, taking a lot of damage from the Orc War Boys in melee combat, but he'll still be diving down and getting his regeneration going. All the Orc War Boys are now being shot up by the crossfire from multiple war wagons. A little bit of brain burst up, blasting away at the flagellants so that the rest of the army can also be buffed up by the Bonewood Staff, getting a little bit of that melee attack buffing all over the place. Empire Knights still holding, and it seems that the Empire has a little bit of advantage here. The Green Tide is pushing indeed, but a lot of the missile assets of the Empire troops are still online, especially with the Outriders having the potential to blast away even the deadliest, tankiest of Black Orcs. Still, Orc War Boys are here to push, and it might be a threat to the Outriders for sure. But yeah, once the Empire Knights start moving in to intercept them, only 65 armor, they can't really handle this kind of melee fight. Stuttering's coming again. I'm pretty sure it's not my PC at this point. It's definitely is the replay file, and I'll be... Anyways, just adjusting the setup for now so that we don't melt our PC. Spears getting blasted by Brain Burster, Black Orcs pushing in alongside some Forest Goblin Spider Riders. But the thing is, the Hell Blaster is still online, already 1,300 gold worth of damage value. Remember, these artillery pieces only cost 1,000 gold. And yeah, right now they have earned back their own damage value and are still climbing with most of their ammo not being used. While the Black Orcs are fighting, but even with their immune to psychology, that's not going to make them immune to the leadership debuffs from Boris Todbringer. Blood Roar is active, Crush the Weak is active, so minus 12 leadership for these guys. And then once they got worked down low enough, they will be routed. Effigy of the Git though is pinning down Boris Todbringer, preventing him from pulling out of combat, allowing the Black Orcs to dish out more damage against him, especially with the Wa activated right now, getting in more and more armor piercing damage. Boris finally is out of the effect from the Effigy of the Git, while the Hellblaster is still blasting, although they're pretty much on their last legs right now, with the Black Orcs overrunning their position. And they only have like, what, 4 cannon crews left? Nope, the entire crew is dead. Very sad for the day for them. But yeah, a Burning Hand going down, the goblins routing them off, and also these orc boys are also burnt, debuffed in terms of leadership, allowing the flagellants to just wreck them and push them off. We'll be doing a bit of fast forward here as the Black Orcs will pretty much get kited to death by a combination of Outriders with grenade launchers and war wagons. The Outriders will continue to blast away. War wagons right now just trying to snipe out Wurzak on the far end, while the Black Orcs, despite their most valiant effort to push, they're pinned down by the unbreakable flagellants here, unable to advance, while the rest of the armor piercing shots go straight into Wurzak. The Great Green Prophet finishes him off, and then there goes the game. Phoenix King, you can't have more than one net between Lords and Heroes in OG rules. Okay, so you can bring Luminac, which makes sense, I guess, because Luminac can only use the net like twice, or 3 times. But you do pay a lot more to just get those nets, and you can't overcast it. Most importantly, you can't overcast it, so you can only affect 1 unit at a time with the Luminac, the Temple of Luminac. So I guess that is not that broken for the Empire. Anyways, for the army performances, the Hellblaster did amazing. They still have a lot of ammo left, but unfortunately being run down by Greenskins, they can't really shoot the rest of their ammo. The rest of the War Wagons did solid as usual, and Empire Knights did okay. Outriders with grenade launchers, as I said, even against heavily armored infantry, they will still kill it, even against the tankiest of Black Orcs. Flagellants mostly there as an unbreakable anvil, there to tie down enemy units, and the rest of the state troops didn't really trade well against Greenskins in general. While, of course, Boris Todbringer being the leadership debuff lord, stacking all those leadership debuff and dealing with enemy units, yeah, that's pretty much it. For the Greenskins here, we have the Black Orcs not doing too much damage, the rest of the army not doing too much damage as well. Yeah, the rest of the army just unable to do too much damage to the state troops, and just getting whittled down by everything on the far side of the battlefield. Yeah, everything just got shot up. It seems that we don't actually have the time to cast the finals, so we'll just be casting the finals separately between Central Scrutinizer and Quartus Centrifratus. So keep an eye out for the for any replay uploads. We'll be casting one last replay from Central Scrutinizer, this time against CoolUmbrella. A similar build here, actually. Wait, no, we've already seen this, but yeah, we don't have enough time for a best of 3 cast, so very unfortunate there. I'll just be making them. I'll just be casting the entire replay as like a tournament highlights, tournament spotlight video, or 3 tournament spotlight videos, and yeah, especially with the final battle, I'm very looking forward to see. I was told that the scrap launcher did well, but we'll see. I have an opinion against scrap launchers, calling them crap launchers and whatnot, but we'll see. Anyways, that's it for my cast today, because Gojira's stream is coming up in 10 minutes. or at least the tournament is starting in 10 minutes, and I assume he will be casting on his channel. So be sure to go move over to his channel to check it out. And if you have any replays, feel free to send it to me. I'll be sure to check them out and cast them as well. What else am I supposed to say here before going off? Yes, right. Hopefully I'll be casting some other tournaments tomorrow. I might be receiving more tournament replays. Not sure just yet. But yes, keep an eye out on my channel. If you are not subscribed, be sure to subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Tactical Lich, signing out.